last time.
All of you?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. And
Kavacham.
if you can forward it on
Mataji.
WhatsApp group, we'll learn by heart also.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's start then. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Gandha Namaste. Satya Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Pushpanusde Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So let's go. So we are doing 4th chapter. You all can say behind me, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Devaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm just trying to go live and see if it works. And then, so we are on what verse? Please tell me. 4 point.
13, ma'am.
13.
We have to start from 13th.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Acha.
14,
Thank you.
Mataji.
Well, I'm getting contradictory answers now. We have to start from 13 or we have to start from 14?
13, Mataji.
13, Mataji.
So far, what did we read? What we read is that that Krishna describes about himself a little bit and history of Bhagavad Gita in the first 10 verses, where first few verses are about the history of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna told it to Vivaswan to Vivasatmika Manu, then to King Ikshvaku, and then to the other saintly kings on the earth. But then the parampara was lost and Krishna came back to establish. Then we answered few questions that who is Krishna? Who is Krishna? What is the difference between Krishna's body and my body? And then we also answered few questions that what makes Krishna come down? Avatar, right? What makes Krishna come down? What is the reason? And that Srila Prabhupada answered in 2 verses. And then we also answered the question that the pearl, the most essential verse of Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, Evam Yoveti Tatvatah Tatvateham Punarjanma Mam Eti the Arjuna, that who understands about the Divyam, the transcendentalness behind Krishna's appearance and his activities, does not take birth again, leaves the body, and then he comes to me, Mam Upetya. So he comes to me. We read that. And then we read that in from 11th verse, Krishna started telling about the division of the human society that he made. He said that many people, this 10th verse is very important. I'm sorry to go back. That now Krishna is telling us operational and blockers. See, we have to figure out that what are our blockers in surrendering to Krishna. So Krishna has already said in 4.9 that one who understands my transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving the body takes birth again in this material world but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. But now Krishna talks about the blockers. What are the blockers in surrendering to Krishna? So Krishna says Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. So these 3, Vita Raga Bhaya. So Vita means to be free from. Free from what? Raga means attachment. Bhaya means fear. Krodha means anger. So the 3 classes of people or 3 things that make us not surrender to Krishna, please understand, is one is raga, means attachment to the material world. I am very happy here. I'm comfortable. Okay, and bhaya, bhaya means fear, means that is impersonalness, that they're very fearful. That the having a body means lot of misery. So that means that God should not have the body. that means God should be energy, because having a body means misery, and that makes me feel fearful that if Krishna or God also has body, then his body must be miserable too. That's a blocker, because we are trying to understand Krishna from our essence, from our speculation. And krodha, some people get frustrated and say that there is no God, and that frustration is coming out of the anger. Like for example, right now what we are facing, the pandemic, many people may surrender to Krishna, right? Krishna, this is a helpless situation. We really thought we can do so many things, but this is helpless. This is really helpless. We all can feel it at least. And then so one person can become a devotee and say that, okay, this is my time to figure out my deeper self. Or somebody can become very averse to Krishna consciousness also, right? Because they say that God is so partial. There's so many people are dying and he's not doing anything. So that can be because of krodha. But a real person will understand that God is not doing anything here. And then Krishna clears his situation that he is not partial. He's not partial, he is surrendering, he is responding to someone to the degree that they surrender. If they surrender, these are the things where we studied that if they surrender as a impersonalist, then Krishna reveals his Brahman feature. If they surrender to Krishna as a karmi or fruitive worker, then Krishna reveals his Yagneshwara, or the master of all yagyas feature. That okay, I'm going to surrender to Krishna so that I can get my work done. Then Krishna reveals that nature. But if a mystic or a yogi surrenders to Krishna, then Krishna reveals his Yogeshwara feature, where he says that I am the best of all yogis. And he gives one of the 8 yogic siddhis to such a person. So it really depends on what is there in my heart when I go to Krishna. And then there is this reassurance from Srimad Bhagavatam. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you are akama, sarvakama, or mokshakama. Kama means desire. Akama means no desire or no material desire. Means I only desire devotional service. Either somebody is fitting in a category of akama, or somebody is fitting in a category of sarvakama, like I have all the desires, material, spiritual, all of them. Or mokshakama, or I have a desire to attain liberation. Say Krishna, go to Krishna. Just go to Krishna. Krishna is not biased. We are biased. We tell people, we judge people in our mind that this particular person is a better devotee and that particular person is not a devotee. This, so we do that because we are actually reflecting what we are out there. But Krishna does not do that. Krishna has proven it time and again. Putana came to kill Krishna. She came to kill Krishna. It's not a small thing. She just entered his house, picked him up, and wanted to kill him. Okay, but what did Krishna do? Krishna took out the essence that she is my mother and gave her the position of Mother Yashoda. So Krishna is very, very eager to have us back. We don't believe it. We should discuss these blockers. We don't believe. So these are some of the blockers. Vitaraga Bhaya, or going to Krishna with partiality, that I want to be an impersonalist, or I want to be a fruity worker, or I want to be a yogic siddhi. Okay, and then this is another blocker, that people don't go to Krishna because attachment. Krishna is describing attachment a little bit in detail. Attachment to material world, then go to someone else. I was listening to Prabhupada's lecture. Prabhupada was saying that let's say that there is a prisoner, okay, and the prisoner, technically the prisoner is supposed to satisfy or follow the order of uh, the, the superintendent of the police of the jail, right? So that they can get their punishment lowered. But what do they do? They go and bribe the constable. That's not that avidhi purvakam. That's not the vidhi. That's avidhi, not the proper way. So if I don't go to Krishna and end up worshipping someone else so that I can get my motive fulfilled, then then I am considered as a fruitive worker. It's like fruitive. I have some fruitive. None of these devatas can prolong our life. Don't be mistaken. None of them can prolong our life. Only Krishna can do it. None of them, because they are also bounded by their lifespan. Okay, so Prabhupada explains in very detail. And then we studied in 13th chapter that how, please understand the love of Krishna. Read Bhagavad Gita, you should understand how much Krishna loves me, how much am I loved. Krishna says that because I want to claim everyone, and this is my personal realization from these classes that I've been doing, that Krishna really, he really wants everyone, not just the people who chant Hare Krishna. He really wants everyone. Okay, Krishna wants everyone. But when we chant Hare Krishna, then we say yes to Krishna's appeal. So we say yes to Krishna's appeal by chanting Hare Krishna. Krishna wants us. He is proving it. He has given me human form of life. He has given me his words. You know, people who are not chanting Hare Krishna can also read Bhagavad Gita, right? They can also. So Krishna wants. Please understand. It's not that only Hare Krishna chanters are the one who are wanted by Krishna. Krishna has said, I am impartial and all of you are mine. But when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are saying, yes, Krishna. You want me now, I realize. I'm so sorry, I was not realizing it for so long. I also want you. That's like yes to the proposal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for wanting us, catching our attention towards Him, He is doing so many things. We think God doesn't do anything, but He is doing. He has divided the society into 4 spiritual orders and 4 society orders according to the society. So 4 spiritual orders are, what are the 4 spiritual orders? Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. And the 4 occupational or 4 society orders are, what are they? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Very nice. So is the division based on birth? Is the division based on birth? No. The division is based on guna and karma. What guna I am in, Rajagun, Satyagun, or Tamagun, or what is the duty ascribed to that particular guna? It is not based on birth. It is not. If you still want to live life based on birth, then that's your baggage. Okay, you're not gonna get anywhere because Krishna is saying it is based on guna and karma. Can you give me some example where the person was born in a Asuric family but was a Vaishnava, and the other way was born in a Vaishnava family but was an Asuric, from the Shastras, from Srimad Bhagavatam? I think the first example is easy, that Prahlad Maharaj was born to a father who was a demon, but he was an exalted Vaishnava. But then the other example where the person was born in a Vaishnava family but was a demon, is there any example?
Ajamila.
Ajamila, very nice, very nice. Ajamila, and who else? So King Vena. King Vena was born in the family. Huh? Sahadevan Prabhu? Prabhu, what did you say?
Yes. Ravana
Ravana was born
he is a grandson of Brahma. Ravana. Yeah. Ravana was a Brahmin. He was a grandson of Brahma. And,
but he was Asuric. Okay.
You know, he was.
He was Asuric Bhava. Very nice. Thank you. Yeah. And then we hear the example of King Vena. King Vena is a great grandson of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj is exalted Vaishnava, but he was a complete Asura. In 4th canto, description is there. Complete Asura. So much so that he had to be killed by the Brahmanas by chanting mantras. They killed him. Okay, so we have example from both the ways. Neha Mataji, you have a question? Neha?
No, I wanted to read. That's why.
Okay. Please go ahead now. 14th.
Mataji, it's from 13th. Hare Krishna.
We have to read 13th.
Oh, we have to read 13th.
Yes,
Chalo,
ma'am.
theek hai.
13.
Okay.
12 we
Thank you.
have finished. 13. Chaturvarnyam.
Theek hai, thank you. Thank you. Neha Mataji, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna. Chaturvarnyam Maya Srastam Guna Karma Vibhaga Saha Tasya Kari Aram Api Mam Vidye Akartaram Avyayam. Uh, According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Purport. The Lord is the creator of everything. Everything is born of Him, everything is sustained by Him, and everything after annihilation rests in Him. He is therefore the creator of the four divisions of the social order, beginning with the intelligent class of men, technically called Brahmins, due to their being situated in the mode of goodness. Next is the administrative class, technically called the Kshatriyas, due to their being situated in the mode of passion. The mercantile men, called the Vaishyas, are situated in the mixed mode of passion and ignorance, and the Shudras or the laborer class are situated in the ignorant mode of material nature. In spite of his creating the four divisions of human society, Lord Krishna does not belong to any of these divisions because he is not one of the conditioned soul, a section of whom form human society. Human society is similar to any other animal society, but to elevate men from the animal status, the above mentioned divisions are created by the Lord for the systemic development of Krishna consciousness. The tendency of a particular man towards work is determined by the modes of material nature which he has acquired. Such symptoms of life, according to different modes of material nature, are described in the 18th chapter of this book. A person in Krishna consciousness, however, is above even the Brahmins, because a Brahmin by quality is supposed to know about Brahman, the supreme absolute truth. Most of them approach the impersonal Brahman manifestation of Lord Krishna, but only a man who transcends the limited knowledge of a Brahmana and reaches the knowledge of the supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, becomes a person in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, a Vaishnava. Krishna consciousness includes knowledge of all different plenary expansions of Krishna, namely Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, etc. However, as Krishna is transcendental to the system of the four divisions of human society, a person in Krishna consciousness is also transcendental to all divisions of human society, whether we consider the division of community, nation, or species.
Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Krishna has cleared his situation that according to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. So three modes. What are the three modes? Goodness, passion, ignorance. So we are all infected with one mode or the other. We have our own likings and dislikings, right? We say, okay, I like this, I like to eat this, I like to wear this, I like to visit this, I like to read this. So all these like what we have is nothing but an expression of the most prominent mode in my personality. So it is not escapable. We cannot escape. On Hindi class I was taking a few days ago, that understand Gita 18 days. One Prabhu said 17 chapter, different kind of food stuff, right, in different modes. So he said that when we offer food to Krishna, it becomes transcendental. So what is the problem in offering garlic and onion to Krishna? And because when we offer it, it may be in the mode of ignorance before offering, but after offering, it becomes mode of goodness because it is offered to Krishna and we can have it. So I said that, you see, we are not Mahabhagavatas. We are not like Lord Shiva. That Lord Shiva, he drank the poison and then he held it in his neck and nothing happened. Okay, these foods are in the mode of ignorance. They are, because the modes are everywhere. Modes are in human beings, modes are in plants, modes are in the animals, vegetables, fruits. There are different modes of clouds. There are 4 kinds of clouds, 50 kinds of winds that Marichi takes control of, and they are all in different modes. Okay, everywhere. So if I do this, then okay, then I will be the one infecting myself with more and more mode of ignorance. I am already in ignorance, right? Let's say that somebody is sick now, rather than they taking precautions so that they can heal and get better, they tend to get more sick. Is that intelligence? That already somebody is sick, let's say somebody has a fracture, okay, and you say that please take rest, your leg is fractured, you can't move, but the person does not listen, keeps on moving. Is that intelligence? Is that intelligence? Tell me.
No, Mataji.
No.
It's not intelligence, it's not a sign of intelligence that, okay, you have to take rest because that's what the need of the time is. It's you have to. Like that, we have to get ourselves out of ignorance. It's a need. Not that I can give evidences from the Shastras that do this and do that. And then at the end, I will be the one suffering, not Krishna. So Krishna is clarifying that he's a creator, he is the maintainer, and he is the annihilator. And then he has made this administrative class or the Kshatriya or intelligent class or mercantile class or the laborer class. He has done it. It's actually compared to Krishna's body. Krishna's head is compared to the Brahmanas, the intelligent. Arms are compared to Kshatriyas, the administrators. The thighs are compared to Vaishyas, mercantile. The legs are compared to Shudras. Okay, so do you want to have a body where there are no legs? Because legs are so less important than brain. Would you rather have, do you like your legs, or you
No.
want to,
We want all parts as is.
right? Thank you so much. So please don't cut Krishna's body. Okay, please don't say that this is more important and that is more important. It is just an expression of what we are infected with. We are all infected. Mode of goodness is also an infection. Okay, but then it is just an expression, and it will take, I don't know how long. Even if at least 100% of you sitting in this class get convinced with this, and don't say that I am a Brahmana because I'm born in a Brahmana family. That's completely non-shastric statement. And understand, I am a Brahmana because I have Brahmanical qualities. I am a Kshatriya because I have Kshatriya qualities. I am a Vaishya because I have Vaishya qualities. That is an expression of Krishna's statement, that you understood what the Supreme Personality of Godhead is trying to teach. But Krishna again clarifies that I am not affected. Even though I made all this division, but I'm not the one who is taking part in it. I just made it because I'm not conditioned. We are conditioned by the modes. Krishna is the creator of the modes. He's not conditioned. And there is a difference between Brahmana and Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is far superior to a Brahmana. A Vaishnava is already a Brahmana. Brahmana is a person who is intelligent, who can read the Shastras, get the verdict, but is not 100% convinced about Krishna's situation as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We see that the Brahmanas worship many other demigods also, along with Vishnu. But a Vaishnava does not take part in any other worship. Very fearlessly, fiercely, and fearlessly surrenders to Krishna. That Krishna, Tvam Ekam, only you. And Krishna also says, Mam Ekam, only me. Yes. Complete yes is there. Okay, Roja Mataji, please go ahead. Namam Karmani Limpanti.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale sphara iti mam yo bhijanati karma bhir nasa badhayate. Translation. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Purport. As there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong or that the king is not subject to the state laws, similarly, the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because of their propensity for lording it over material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desires the low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth. Although without such rains, there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows. Nimitta matram eva sau srijanyam sarga karmani pradhana karani bhuta yato vai shrija saktayaha. In the material creations, the Lord is the only supreme cause. The immediate cause is material nature by which the cosmic manifestation is visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as the demigods, human beings, and lower animals, and all of them are subject to the reactions of their past good and bad activities. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of nature. But he is never responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutras, it is confirmed that the Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives him facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of this law of karma or fruitive activities does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subjected to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, as are the activities of the ordinary living entities, certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reaction. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul fixed in Krishna consciousness. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Mataji. Very nice. So Krishna is clarifying that he made Chaturvarna Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha, but he is not affected by any of the work of a Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. He's not affected by their work. And neither does he have any aspiration for the fruits of the work. He does not. Okay, man is an architect of his own destiny. We actually make our own destiny. Krishna only acts as Upadrishta Anumanta, means he's a supervisor, overseer, and a permitter. So he sees that, okay, this is your tendency. He oversees that my tendency, my natural, whatever tendency I am infecting myself with, it's not natural. And then permits, okay, do like this. Here is the ground for you, you act like this. But in the activity, whatever mistakes we do or whatever repercussions or we get, Krishna is not responsible. For example, let's say that you have a big house, okay, and then you have 10 servants in the house, and the servants are stealing things. Are you responsible because they're stealing? Are you, as a owner and the proprietor of the house, are you responsible for the activity of the servant, or they are responsible? Who will tell me? Who is responsible?
They are responsible.
They are
They are
responsible.
responsible, right? This proprietor is not responsible. You just gave them a job. You just actually did a favor that, okay, why don't you? We were looking for a job, and here I have, and you can work. But they are responsible for their activity. Or another example, let's say that there is an architect. Okay, the architect is making a blueprint of the building. The architect makes a blueprint for all kinds of buildings. He makes blueprint for a house or a mansion or a temple or even a slaughterhouse or a university. But is the architect responsible for what goes on inside the house, inside that building? Is he responsible or she responsible? Or is just yes, Mataji, Jigna Mataji.
No, Mataji, by mistake it happened. Sorry, Mataji.
No, Mataji. Yeah, okay. No,
Sorry.
you said your answer is no.
Yeah, my answer is no, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. So the architect is not responsible for the activities that will go on inside the building, right? Similarly, Krishna has just created, he has just architected this place, but we are responsible for what we do here. Krishna is not responsible. Krishna wants us, and Krishna wants us to act responsibly. We cannot say that, God, you can change my mind. Well, you got to be ready too. You got to be ready too. I was telling in the Achita class about the same thing, that recently I was speaking to one of my uh, one of the devotees' relative, and he's the devotee's relative is a very big shot in India. So he was saying that, oh, that my father, when I told him in my college that I made it to the soccer team, he actually came all the way to my hostel and spoke to my coach and said that don't let my son enter the soccer team, because the soccer playing is for people who are dumb, who cannot study. Okay, but then he said, but actually, my father, what he does not know, that I was a sports person all my life. I was playing sports even when I was in school. I just wouldn't show my medals. I just would hide them. But I was always doing it. So, like that, Manik, the father could not force the son. No, his father was acting out of the concern. The son did anyway what he wanted to do. Like that, Krishna, if he forces us, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a spring action. We are anyway going to do whatever we want to do, but then we're gonna fake of being Krishna conscious. We're going to patch up or dress up. We'll dress up like a devotee, but we'll not be a devotee in the essence. Krishna does not force. He does not force. He requests. He gives instructions. Material nature gives the repercussions. If we don't abide by the orders of Krishna, then we face the calamities. We face the death. We face the old age. We face the disease. We face the birth. But that's our punishment. But the minute we stop doing, the minute we rectify our mistake, we don't get punished anymore. Okay, so understand that God is not going to force us. He is not. He is making arrangements. A devotee's heart is full of gratitude. It's full of gratitude for Krishna. I was speaking to my friend last night. I was saying that I'm feeling very overwhelmed by what is happening. And I'm overwhelmed and helpless. These are my two feelings that I'm dealing with. So she was telling me the story of Parikshit Maharaj. The Parikshit Maharaj was given a notice that he's going to die in 7 days. He did not feel overwhelmed. Okay, he felt that he did feel a feeling of helplessness, but he approached a spiritual master in that thing. That what should I do? I am going to die. What is the duty of a dying man? This is the question that he approached, that he put forward to Sukhdev Goswami. What is the duty of a dying man? He was not overwhelmed. Oh my God, I'm going to die now. He says, okay, time has come, but what should I do now? What is the need of the hour? So she was telling me, and she also said the story of Gajendra, that Gajendra was stuck in water and his leg was in the mouth of a crocodile for thousands of years. He was like that, thousands of years. And Gajendra was a very, very powerful elephant. He was an elephant from the denizens of heaven. He was not ordinary elephant. But then he ultimately, until he surrendered to Krishna himself, he was stuck there for thousands of years. Like that, we will be stuck. We'll never be able to make sense of the things that's going around us. Please try to make sense out of all the nonsense that's going on. And that sense can only be made if I'm spiritually inclined. If I'm not spiritually inclined, if I don't know Krishna consciousness, then everything will be like a disaster. Every activity, every news is going to be like, what is this place? Well, you know what this place is. Dukh alayam ashashvatam. This is a place. Okay, I'm not saying we should become insensitive, or we should not feel overwhelmed, or we should not feel grieve or mourn. We have to do all that because we are not so elevated. A transcendentalist, a dhira will not do all that, but we'll do it. And that's okay. But please understand that we should not blame Krishna for anything. It's a repercussion. Whatever reverses we face in our life is just a reminder that where did I go wrong in my Krishna consciousness? Where did I go wrong? What did I do now? Or if the situation has come in front of me in the form of fear, then how do I use this situation to nurture my faith? Faith in Krishna. Not that I become faithless now, hopeless, faithless. It's never, Krishna is never out of control. Things get out of control from our hands, not Krishna's hands. Never. And one day few months ago, I was thinking that if I die in this corona, then what? Then the next day I got this realization, then also I'm fine. Because Krishna's energy does not, or Krishna's protection is not only to me, is not limited to my conditioning in this body. Krishna's protection is going to be there. He'll take care of me, even my spiritual, as a spirit or body or whatever. So please try to build up the confidence. Krishna is the supreme cause. Everything else is a secondary cause. Immediate cause is material nature, but the supreme cause is Krishna. Unless until Krishna permits, nothing moves in the material nature. The sun, the moon, they don't rise. They don't come on time if Krishna does not ask them to. Okay, so we are responsible. It's Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, it's telling us that the Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of modes of nature, but He's never responsible for their past and present activity. He's never partial, is not responsible, and a living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives facilities through agency of material nature, the external energy. And this is what we do. I think we can do one more. Let's do. Who is next? Sapna, you can unmute, please.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I have a doubt. Can I ask it now?
I read your doubt. Let's just do this one and then we'll address that doubt. I read your message.
Okay, Mataji.
Evam Gyatva Kritam. Read this, Sapna.
Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Evam nyatva kritam karma purvet api mumukshubhi guru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. Translation. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform.
Wait, Sapna. You read from my screen, please.
Okay, Mataji. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding and so attained liberation. Therefore, as the ancients, you should perform your duty in this divine consciousness. Purport. There are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for gradual cleansing process, following the regulative principles of devotional service. Those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. Foolish persons or neophytes in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof, making a show of Krishna consciousness is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivaswan, as mentioned herein before. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities as well as those of persons who acted in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the acts of the sun god who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Right, is giving. So what is that Isupnishad mantra where we studied there are two type of people, Sura and Asura? Yes. What is that mantra number? Yes, Anvya Mataji.
Mataji, it's mantra 3.
Very nice. Yes.
You
Sura
want me
and
to
Asura. You know the mantra?
Yeah. Asurana te loka andhena tamasavritaha tamste pratyabhigachanti yeke chatmahano janaha.
So nice. Very nice. Thank you so much. I feel so proud. So that's what it is, that there are two classes of men. So Sura and Asura. So asura is a person who's full of polluted material things within their heart, right? Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, full of polluted things. They were big, big asuras, but we are small asuras. And some of them are materially free. That's the devotee of Krishna. And Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both these persons. Again, Krishna is saying, I'm not partial. Equally beneficial. Okay, if a asura takes to Krishna consciousness, then they get rid of the anarthas. But if transcendentalists continue with their Krishna consciousness, then they become an example for others to follow. Srila Prabhupada's life is a perfect example. For me personally, I can't think of any other example. Srila Prabhupada's life is perfect example. How to act in Krishna consciousness. We think that Krishna consciousness is an armchair philosophy. But Prabhupada, I'll tell you, my Guru Maharaj tells this. Once devotees were in Delhi. Okay, all the devotees from Western countries had come with Prabhupada. Not all, most of them. And Prabhupada was riding in the car with them. And in the car also they used to do talk, right, Sri Prabhupada? And one of them asked Prabhupada, Maya is everywhere. Everywhere there is Maya. It's so alluring. Prabhupada, what should we? I don't know the real question. I think the question was, Prabhupada, don't you ever feel affected by Maya? So Prabhupada said, actually, Prabhupada answered very harsh at that time. Prabhupada said that this is a mistake to think that your spiritual master can be affected by Maya. You see, if you leave me in a room with naked women around, nothing will happen to me. So everyone was dumbstruck, everyone was, okay, we are so much in Maya. They felt a little down. And then Srila Prabhupada sensed that the disciples are feeling like that. And then he said, actually, I don't know, something will happen. But the problem is that I don't have any time. I don't have time for Maya. I don't have time. We have to give time to Maya. So engrossed in Krishna's service. That's the verdict we learned, that if my day is so packed, back to back with Krishna service, where is the time? Where is the time? And for being engaged, we need association. A devotee can teach another devotee how to be engaged. When we are left alone, we get overwhelmed by our own anarthas. Let me eat this also, let me watch that also, let me do this also. But when we are with the devotees, when we surround ourselves with the devotees, then it's less likely. And it's still something can happen, but the chances are low. That's why we have to make a choice. Last night we had a class with one devotee, Mataji, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, and she was telling us different ways that Maya attack us. Okay, and she was saying that, I really like this point, that if somebody tells you, I really need you, she's such a senior devotee, she's very nicely talking. Somebody tells you, okay, I really need you. If you're not in my life, I will die. She said, immediately understand that this is the voice of Maya, because nobody needs nobody. We only need the Supreme Personality of Godhead in my heart. Nobody says, okay, I'm going to die. Of course, you will not die. When I die, you will not die, because you are very dear to your own self. We are very dear to our own self. Whenever there is a danger, we try to protect ourselves, right? But what are we protecting? The super soul and the soul, actually. So she was saying that this is a voice. Oh, she was teaching how to set boundaries in a relationship. So she was saying that if let's say you are in a relationship, any kind of relationship, at your work or with your neighbors, or just like a humanitarian work or nationalist, and somebody says that, oh, that I am going to and you both are, there are two people in the relation, right? Any relation. And she said, if one feels very sucked up, like very, very, very tired and drained, then she said that's the time to move on, because you're not getting anything out of that relation. You're just giving more. So, and we got to do that. And one devotee asked that, Mataji, then that's not unconditional love, right? We are putting condition, but Krishna consciousness teaches us unconditional love. And she is such a senior devotee. She said, of course, it is an unconditional love. It is an unconditional love to your own soul and super soul, and to the super soul of the other person's heart. Because when we move on, we give chance to ourselves and the other person to go back and introspect to the with the Paramatma sitting in the heart, and that's what we really need. I really enjoyed listening to her last night. So so we have to be able to know that Krishna consciousness is for everyone. Krishna is not partial. Krishna is not setting any eligibility criteria. We are the one who are putting blockers in my surrender to Krishna in any shape or form. We studied by attachment, by fear, or by anger, or by being partial in my surrender because I have some fruitive desire, because I have some yogic power, mystic desires, or I have some desires to merge in Brahman platform. Or if I am, Krishna made this division, okay, you have all these desires, fulfill them, but also fulfill them in such a way that you surrender to me. That's the basic foundation behind Devi Varnashram system that Krishna describes here. Chaturvarna Maya Shrishtam. 12th canto Srimad Bhagavatam describes different kinds of Varnashram system. But Srila Prabhupada said that in ISKCON, we are trying to establish something called Devi Varnashram, which is like 4 spiritual and 4 society orders. Okay, and Krishna does not set limits. We are the one who judge. So that, oh, you are a low devotee, I am a high devotee, that is a higher devotee. Krishna doesn't do that. Interestingly, Krishna does not do that. Krishna says, thank you for coming. Let's work together to make this happen. I am giving you this facility. Are you able to do it? Are you going to chant? Are you going to chant? Because when we chant, then we say yes to Krishna's proposal. Krishna is proposing. He's been proposing, but Hare Krishna chanting is like saying yes. You know, in movies, we see a man is proposing to a woman, will you marry me, with a ring on, bending on his knees? And the woman says yes or no. Like that, he is proposing, will you come to me? So now you have to say yes by putting on this ring of the chanting beads in your hands all the time. Okay, I'm sorry I have to leave for work, but I'll take up some questions now, and we will spend more time next Saturday. We are going to meet next Saturday, please, 3 p.m. So does anyone, Khushbu, what is your question? You can unmute, please.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My question was this was text 14. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. Is similar to the one in the Karma Yoga, which has explaining that without being attached to the fruits of activity, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains supreme.
So the thing is, that's the next chapter, right?
No, ma'am. Mataji, previous lesson 3.19.
Oh, the 3rd chapter, because the next chapter also is Karma Yoga, but action in Krishna consciousness. Okay, understand that particular verse is for us. That activity is for us. That if I work in that particular mentality, then I will become free from the bondage of karma. Here, Krishna is explaining his own position, that there is no work that affects me. I don't have to work all this. I don't aspire for the fruits of any action. But if you understand about me, then you also are able to get out of the entanglement of karma. That this is jnana, we can say this is knowledge, and that particular verse is more like an application of knowledge. This is a knowledge that why one should cultivate karma yoga. Because first of all, karma yoga means doing some activity for Krishna's service, right? And giving him the fruit. That's nishkam karma. Doing activity and giving him the fruits also, doing both the things. But here we are understanding that what happens if I do that, because Krishna is free. Krishna is not going to be entangled. You're going to give something to somebody who is free, then I get free. And then that verse, I understand it this way, is like more like a application than work like this. Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. Sapna, what is your question? You can pose it in front of the entire class.
Mataji, you were giving us a recap on attachment, right, Mataji?
Yeah.
So some attachment, like you are a doctor, so will you not have attachment on that work? So I had this doubt for so long. I wanted to ask it to you.
Okay, there is a difference between attachment and empathy. Okay, there's a difference. Attachment means, like for example, one Mataji in my one of the classes said that Mataji, Krishna consciousness teaches that how to go back to Krishna, but I really don't want to go because I want to be reborn in this family. I want to have these children as my children again. I want to have my husband as my husband again. That is attachment. That I just don't want to get out of it. I'm very happy. I'm very comfortable. I don't want to leave this place. But empathy is like a higher. Empathy is higher. So he is very Krishna conscious. That how can I make your life? How can I be of service to you, so that you will get a chance again to revive your Krishna consciousness in the same body? Are you understanding the difference? Or I'm making it complicated.
I get it, Mataji, but how is that related to doctor? I mean, you are helping people, you are curing people, but how is that related to going back to Krishna?
Because when you, well, that depends on the doctor, how a doctor's own Krishna consciousness also. Okay, but if I am going to a patient and the patient becomes attached to me, if they just come and go, then that's different. But if we spend some time with them, then you get a chance to preach to them that you see, you have to figure out, you have to give it a thought that why are you in a situation where you have to fall sick again and again? Why are you in a situation? Is there something that you could do to just rectify it completely? And if the person says yes, then you give them Srila Prabhupada's books, and then it starts from there. Okay. When I was an outpatient pediatrician, inpatient, you really don't spend much time with people. But outpatient, children are innocent, right? So, and the mothers are also innocent. They get attached to their pediatric doctor. I don't know adult, but pediatric, they get very attached. When I was leaving the job, they were coming and giving me gifts, their family portraits and letters and paintings and whatnot. I have a whole collection. But in the middle, I said that, okay, you guys are doing smoking and this. Would you rather have me set up a fun stall where we will do Indian art called henna, and then I will give you some nice books and some nice food to eat? They said yes. So I approached ISKCON Boston and we set up a stall outside my clinic, and we did that the whole day. The children, their families, and they brought so many other people. We were completely wiped out. All the books were gone. We had over 100 books, and my friend was doing henna, and my friend baked some cookies, and then we had fun. Okay, but I'm not attached to them.
Okay.
So you have to be creative. And
But what about, so irrespective of any work which has Krishna in it is not attachment?
What? Give me an example.
Irrespective, like if you're an accountant and you are having Krishna in it, I mean you're like giving books, you're preaching someone, then it's like Krishna consciousness. It's
So-
not attachment, right, Mataji?
It's attachment with Krishna in the center. It's not attachment which is going to end ever. I am attached to you, right? I cannot say I'm not. I don't even know how you look, but I'm still attached to you. I look for you. I look for your name when is Sapna here today or not. But my attachment is that, okay, Sapna is such a nice girl. She's so intelligent and she's so young. Vibha is so young. These girls are so intelligent. So maybe I should preach them so they can hear Krishna's words, Srila Prabhupada's words, and become a very beautiful young girls in future and Krishna's devotee. I am attached to you. You're not attached to me?
Yes, I am.
So how can you say? But we have Krishna in the center. I'm attached to you through Krishna.
Okay, now I get it.
Okay. But if you're attached to somebody, let's say I'll give you an example of this drama that goes on in the world in the name of lovers, right? Oh, my lover left me, or my boyfriend left me, or my girlfriend left me. Now I'm facing depression. That attachment is toxic, drains. It's toxic. It lingers on. So much of burden on the shoulder. So if it's something, and then we have to go through this trauma and then go through the process of getting rid of the trauma. But if the person is attached and detached at the same time, I am attached to my lover or so-called lover, but only in service to Krishna. That okay, how can I enhance your life so that you can become more Krishna conscious, and the other person, your friend, enhances your life, that how can you become more Krishna conscious? For example, you and Vibha are almost of the same age. So if you both are best buddies, if you both become best buddies, but with Krishna in the center, hey Vibha, what did we discuss in the last class, Vibha? And I don't understand this question. And then there you build on. You understand her mentality, her psychology. She understands your psychology. What is it that you're good at in Krishna consciousness? And then you fan the spark. You fan the spark and get the fire out of that spark of Krishna consciousness. That is the best friendship, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so many examples are there. Very thoughtful, huh, Sapna?
Hare Krishna.
Okay,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Vibha, you have a question?
No, Mataji, I had raised hand for reading.
Oh, sorry. Okay. We'll read from verse number. Anybody has any questions? 16. No questions? Everyone understood everything? So please, I have a request. If I don't know if you can record. You mean if you don't have time to write, that's fine. You can record it or write it. That on this topic of how can I be Krishna conscious given the situation that I am in right now. Or the other topic could be from fear to faith. Can be like less than 300 or up to 300 words. So from fear to faith. For your personal, I want realization. I don't want theoretical knowledge. That theoretical knowledge nahi chalegi. Realization from fear to faith. You can even record and send it to me, email to me, or if you don't want to share, then you can keep it to yourself. But do it. From fear to faith. The fearful situation. And very sad situation, and it can make us averse to Krishna. But I want to know where is your faith here? Okay. Okay, Mataji, we can stop recording.